Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the show this October 28th, a Wednesday, October 28th, 2020. Glad to have you guys here. Now, you know what? Things that are happening out there right now are biblical proportion. Let's get the chart started right here and take a look at what's going on. You know, what I want to say is there's so much happening right now. Like the United States has said that if Iran makes a shipment of I guess weapons to Venezuela, they're going to blow it up or whatever. We got in Europe right now. We got the Europeans are having to go back into lockdown again. We got a big hurricane that's coming to hit the Louisiana again, and they've had so many hurricanes this year. They can't even name them all. They're on Z. They're on the. What are they going to name the next one? They probably have to go back and start all over again at the top of the alphabet. I mean, you know, it's biblical in proportion. California is burning. Cities in the United States are burning right now. I mean, I could just go on and on. The stock market's been pumped up on cheap, easy money. And of course it's ready to fall. There's no bottom. There's no bottom. The Fed's sitting there watching this, and I mean, what's going on? They're sitting there thinking to themselves, hey, you know, we'll just wait it out for a few more days, and it'll turn around and it'll bounce. This is just a correction. This is just a correction. Okay? Baloney, it's a correction. There's no bottom. There's no bottom because of the circumstances that have come together over a long period of time that have created this situation. And one of the things that's created this situation is an over-leveraging of the system. Unless you remove that factor, the debt that's over-leveraged the system, and how do you cleanse that debt out? You cleanse it out with a crash and let markets find fair market value. But that's not happened. And that can't happen. They can't allow that because at this point they've over-leveraged the system to a point where if they just let it all slide and let it all collapse, this market will fall 95% before it finds a fair market volume. And if it does that, everybody's going to go bankrupt. It's called a doom loop. Now, here's the thing. Yesterday, I was forecasting how we could be heading towards some sort of a recovery come next spring or next summer. That's tentative, meaning that it might not happen if they let the system entirely collapse. And, you know, if this whole thing with the election doesn't turn out right and people go basically crazy, because it would be more than a civil war if the people basically went crazy. And the reason why I say that is, back in the 1800s, they called it the American Civil War, you know. But what it really was is a war of succession. The southern states were dividing away from the United States of America, and they wanted to succeed, leave, in other words, and create their own country. And the North, which was known as the Yankees, in the South, you know, they had the Confederacy, and they had a war, but it was a war where the people that were for the Confederacy were living in the Confederacy. They were living in the South, and the people that were for the North were living in the North. This is an entirely different situation. This is your neighbor next door is red, and the house next to him is blue, and the house next to him is red, and the house next to him is blue. That's how clearly divided America is. This is not this would be the true meaning of a civil war. I mean, if it did break out, you know, it would be neighbor against neighbor. And so it's not clearly divided. Like, all the people that are for the Democratic side, they don't all live in the southern part of the United States, and all the northern part of the United States is all Republican. That's not the way it is. The way it is it's one neighbor next to his next neighbor next to his next neighbor is different. Like, each person is divided on this issue. And this would just make for a total mess where neighbors fight neighbor. You know, I mean, maybe not fighting as in physically fighting, or just the way it is right now, they're not exactly fighting physically, but they're against each other's philosophies. It's a division that is systemic all the way across North America right now, and it could erupt into violence very quickly. We got all these situations all happening simultaneously in a bottomless market. And so what do we got going on today? Well, we got the gold and the silver price falling like a stone. How far down do you think that's going to fall before all the physical disappears? First off, the most coveted asset in the world, gold and silver, always has been, and they're going to put it on a fire sale? That's a recipe for disaster in itself. So we're looking at a silver price today at $23.17. It's down to $1.17. Let's check gold. See how much gold's caved today. $31.10 so far at $1876.50. If gold and silver prices fall a lot, it's just going to get all snatched up. The physical on both. The physical will disappear. That's what'll happen, and then you'll see premiums, massive premiums come into play. Let's take a look at cryptocurrency today. We're looking at Bitcoin price falling back down to 13,093. They're hesitant to sell their Bitcoin. They're more hesitant to sell their Bitcoin than they are to sell their gold and silver. Because when they're selling their gold and silver, all they're selling is SLV and GLD. And it's basically meaningless paper money. It's basically meaningless fiat they're selling. But when they're selling their Bitcoin, they're selling the real physical Bitcoin. And they're more hesitant about doing that than they are about selling their... And so if you see the Bitcoin price is still hanging above $13,000. It took a little bit of a hit, 1.72%, but not as big a hit as gold. We'll go back and take a look at gold. What's the percentage today? 1.63 actually, so it hasn't taken that big of a hit. Let's take a look at the Dow Jones today, 876 points down. I'm surprised it's not more with everything that's going on in the world right now, but it's starting to get serious now. We've had it falling for a number of days now, and it's starting to really get serious. But I'm going to tell you guys what, this thing's in a free fall right now. They got to do something to stop it, to turn it, And how far are they going to let it fall before they turn it? Because they got unlimited money. They got unlimitedly deep pocketbooks, So this is like a game of chicken between the Fed and the markets right now. And this is very interesting to watch, to actually see it happen. Let's take a look now at crude oil, 37.46. And crude oil, the bottom's dropping out on crude oil right now. It's down $2.11 today. So this is deflation happening right now. And deflationists are right now saying, hey, I told you so, I'm all in dollars. Well, I'm going to tell you what. Never forget the fact that they can print those dollars into oblivion. The Fed's already come out, and they've said, Jerome Powell has said, we can make as many of these suckers as we want. And they will as the heat hits them. What do you think's going to happen if these markets and everything continue to drop? It's going to put more and more heat on them, more and more pressure on them to react. And how are they going to react? They're going to fire up the printers. And you're holding those? Come on, guys. Come on. The bigger the troubles, the more biblical this gets. The more cities burn, the more they're going to print. Come on, guys. You guys that are holding the dollars, come on. Think about this for a minute. I know it seems like, hey, this is the right decision to go all into dollars right now when you see everything else falling. Because everything's biblical in nature. It's all, what's happening, there's biblical, and I'm using the word. It's just, everything's on fire, either that or a hurricane's hitting it, or they're going back into lockdowns again. It's biblical in nature, and everything's starting to fall and collapse in the markets. So it looks like you should be in dollars. But hey, hold on, guys. Think about this for a minute. They can print unlimited amounts of these dollars. And the worse, more biblical everything gets, the more they're going to print at a certain point. Because once the heat gets on them, the real heat, that's when they're going to react. That's when, and the reaction's going to, the bigger and more biblical this is, the bigger the reaction's going to be on the other side. In other words, the more they're going to print to try to get out of it. And it's unlimited how much they can print. How much money that they could rain down on this situation. And what's that going to do to the money? It's going to make it worthless. And you're buying into that? Buy in the gold and silver while it's cheap. You see a price break on it, get into gold and silver because that's your way out. That's the only door out. This is a false door. Taking the dollar is a false door. You're going to get trapped in the end in this situation. They're not going to let the entire world completely collapse. I know it might seem like the world's collapsing. But at some point, they're going to want to save their skin. And there's only one way that they can save their skin. They got to print. And when the real pressure comes on them, that's what they will do. Believe me, they will. And they're hanging pat this morning. They're watching this biblical proportion size thing, and they're thinking to themselves, hey, we don't really want to print anymore right now. You know, we're like, oh, no, we don't want to print. But when the real heat comes on them, they'll print. Okay, let's take a look now at U.S. Treasuries. We're looking at Treasury yields falling today again. We're getting that 7-year down near 0.50, and we're getting, the 10-year, it's 0.76. So it's getting down near the 0.75 that I was talking about. U.S. 30-year, 1.5. It's getting down near the 1.50 that I was talking about. So they're getting those yields back down again. You know, who do you think's buying this crap? The U.S. Treasuries, because, you know, they're going to print to oblivion. They're going to print these treasuries to oblivion, you know, and who's going to be in there to buy it? Well, the Fed's going to buy it all in the end. They're going to buy it all. And they're going to bring these yields down as low as they possibly can. So that's not a place to hide. You know, that's not a place to hide because you're not going to get any yield. In fact, the inflation's going to shoot to the moon, and you're going to be sitting here holding something that ain't going to give you any yield. Something they could even default on. Okay, 57.88 on the move index today. This is one of the things that they watch, and it's going along sideways. No alarm here. The world might be collapsing, the world might be burning, but the Fed watches this like a hawk, and if this goes up, then the Fed will react. And as long as this thing's going along sideways or even dropping a little bit, I mean, they're not very concerned with the cities burning. That's not what really concerns them. What really concerns them is this move index, because this is the credit markets, and they don't want the credit markets to implode. But you know, when the world situation gets bad enough, this will react, and this could shoot up overnight. This could double overnight, and then they'll really get alarm bells really be going off at the Fed, you know, if that happens. Dow Jones and excuse me, guys. It got me a bit excited what's going on here in the world right now. Like I'll use the word again, it's biblical in proportions what's going on right now. There's too many problems in too many places to even think about. You know, 93.47. Well, we got to think about it. I mean, I can't sit here on this show and even name all the problems. I haven't even touched on what's going on in Taiwan and how China might, if we get in so many problems and there's so many situations going on, China might try something with Taiwan. You know, there's situations out there that could lead to World War III going on even. You know, and so this is really bad what's going on right now. But, you know, like I say, they're going to, and ultimately in the end, when it really gets bad enough, they're going to try to print their way out of it. 93.47 on the U.S. dollar index. Dollar's rising. And, you know, this show, I'm dedicating it to all you guys that's making this dollar go up, you know. think twice. I know it seems like the right thing to do to get into cash and hold cash through this situation, but I'm going to tell you what. On the other side of you is a printing press. So you're hoarding it, and they're getting ready to fire the presses up. Think about that. They can't do that to you if you've got gold, silver, or cryptocurrencies. They can't fire the presses up. And that's the important bit, you know. Okay, guys, let me do my picture of the day. Let's take a look. The laughing mule, you know, or is he a donkey? I'm not sure. I can't really tell the difference between a donkey and a mule. I think a mule's a bit bigger, you know. But I think he might be a mule by the look of him anyway. He's pretty cute, though. He's got a big smile on his face and his eyes closed. He's sitting there and he's enjoying himself. He doesn't care what's going on in the world. Okay, you guys have a great day, and thank you for listening to my show. Like and subscribe. Give me a thumbs up, and we'll catch you guys in the next episode. Bye-bye.